So we're going to talk about another way to cut. And I don't know if you guys can see here the frayed edge, and then this is the selvage edge on this piece of cloth. We've unfolded it and opened it up, and we want to make sure that we're cutting with the warp and weft of the fabric so that our squares don't fray. Another way to do that is you can use your teeth or you can use scissors, but we're going to come over about 2 inches, and we're just going to put a little cut through the selvage. Now, as you're doing that, I don't think I went quite deep enough, which was a good example. So as you're doing that, you want to make sure you get past where the selvage is bound together. Once you're there, you're going to be able to tear the cloth. Don't cut, don't continue cutting, but do tear the cloth along that selvage edge. And it will tear at the warp and weft. Now this first strip didn't come out so even because the first edge was cut, so that one's just going to go off to the side. That was not a trimmed up edge on this piece of cloth, that was just from purchasing it initially. So we're going to come in and we're going to do about another 2 inches. I'm going to be a little bit generous with this, like 2 1/4-ish. So now that width should tear all the way down our fabric because again it's following the warp and weft. I'm not sure which is which on that particular part of the cloth. So we now have a strip, and you'll notice it's a pretty even width all the way along. And because it's following along the warp and weft, it's not going to fray. Now, we're going to cut this into squares. This is how it was taught many, many years ago. But you can take this, we fold it in half, and you cut right along the fold. You take that piece, you fold it in half again, you cut, fold it in half again, and you cut right along that fold. There we go. And you just continue that process with all of these pieces. And if you have better scissors, you might just be able to continue with the whole batch. But I'm going to break this up into a slightly smaller batch here. Fold it in half. And I'll have to do these 2 batches separately and continue. But fold in half and cut again. Fold it in half. And cut again. Now, we now have a stack of little cloth squares that really won't fray much more than what you already see on the edge here. They're pretty much done because we tore with the warp and weft, and by cutting perpendicular to the tear, again we're staying on that warp and weft. So those will give you roughly clean squares that you can do at home with a pair of scissors. No special cutting tools required. They don't look quite as pretty because they do have the curled edges and everything. But I've made plenty of cloth squares this way. All right, thank you.